Who do we think is going to be the best manager? Is it going to be Dave Roberts or is it going to be John Schneider? Both of them had, well, not necessarily Dave Roberts because he just let his guys go, but John Schneider, you kind of alluded to it in the beginning, Glenn, made some questionable calls. Are they going to have the quick hook? Are they going to let these guys just because you get a guy on, are you going to go out there and yank him in the fifth inning when he really isn't in any kind of trouble? So, Loon, let me ask you this. Who do you give the edge to as far as managing the game on both clubs?
Well, one guy was there last year and the other one wasn't. So I think he's walked the plank before, and I think it's a huge advantage. I think sometimes it's not really the managers, it's the situation of the series. You got to remember, when it's game 7, there's no tomorrow. You got to do whatever it takes. When it's a 5-game or a 3-game series, you got to somehow get the W. And, I think these guys are both class acts. I think, they're going to do what they have to do, but it also depends on the situation and, what game of the series. You got to remember, I think the big concern we're not talking about, we have a young kid. Maybe he doesn't know how big this game is in Toronto, where he's got everybody on his back telling him this kid's amazing. He's going to do good. We've seen young guys go in and veterans in the World Series and they just lay an egg. We just don't know. But I think the big advantage is, can Toronto really bring the momentum off a very emotional win where the Dodgers have done it before? It's a big thing. I think the one thing we're not really talking about is how many guys from Toronto even have World Series experience. Coaches, players, the works. Where the Dodgers, they've been there before. Everybody talks about the Dodgers, 2021. They have done it. That's what makes the Dodgers the cream of the crop. No one's been able to knock them out. And they've done it before. So I think really Toronto, we got to make sure they're not like a deer in the headlight. They're going to be so caught up in the motion. And you have a young pitcher here where I think really the first couple innings is going to be huge for him. Dodgers aren't going to beat themselves. Toronto's going to have to create opportunities to beat the Dodgers. And I think that's a big key, especially when you've never done it before. We're just not sure what Toronto's going to do because this is the biggest game of these guys' lives. And until you've done it, you can talk a good game, but until you've done it, you have no clue. You have no way how it's going to be.
Glenn?
Except for, Springer. I don't know who's played for Toronto in the World Series. So I think that's important.
Glenn, again, you were alluding to John Schneider, and all the Toronto fans were ready to burn him in effigy because of the move that when he went to Brendan Little in Game 6. But who do you give the edge to? You give it to Dave Roberts, John Schneider? What do you think?
To be honest, Derek, I don't even know how to answer that question. I think we just got to see how it unfolds. I mean, we could break this down for a month of Sundays and come up with a different, is it going to go 7 games? Is it going to go 6, like Lou said? Is somebody wins 4-1? I don't think this year in particular, I have any idea how this could unfold. I really don't. But I'd like to give up my airtime, and I'd like to ask Marty a question that has to do a little bit. We were talking about pitching, and Lou just said, do they go to the bullpen early? Marty, I still am, but I grew up watching ball in the mid to late 70s and the 80s, and I just loved it. I had a passion for it. And I've said it to Eric and Lou and Dan over on NorCal many times. I said, I think I appreciated it more because I waited for the box score in the newspaper, and it wasn't just, instant gratification. What's the score? There it is. I got to ask you, how did we get to this point where pitchers are going 2 innings, not giving up a hit in a postseason game, or even and we're seeing it in the regular season, these bullpen games, and the manager's coming out with the hook? How did we get here, Marty?
Yeah, well, we got here through analytics. And the fact that pitching staffs now have 12 or 13 or 14 pitchers, depending on the time of year, that throw 98 to 100. And you're better off bringing in 98 in the 7th inning and bring in another 98 in the 8th inning and do that. So I think we got here because of the matchup information and all the statistical information that we have that says pitch this guy against this guy this way. And plus, when a manager goes to the bullpen now, he's not bringing in, a washed-up starter who's 37 years old, who's hanging on. This isn't Grover Cleveland Alexander sleeping in the bullpen, and seriously, in 1926, and then bringing him in to face Tony Lazzeri. It's not like that. It's a different game today. It's a game of specialists. Now, this is the important part, and Lou brought this up, and you guys have been talking about it, and we haven't touched on it yet completely. I learned this from Joe Torre. You must win today's game. And Bruce Bochy did this to a T. You must win today's game, which means if the A's are playing the Yankees in Game 7 and Pettit's getting knocked out in the fourth inning, Stanton's coming in the fourth inning, and the Yankees are going to win that game against the A's and knock them out in 2000. And Joe Torre showed me that. Bochy did it completely. You must win today's game, which means if you've got to go to the bullpen in the fifth inning and you got to bring in your guy in the fifth inning to get you out of that fifth inning, you bring him in. You don't worry about tomorrow. I like Schneider, the way he manages. And he's going to have to do this because, see, he's got guys who aren't going to go 7. He's going to get in those critical situations the third time through, which is, the big red flag in baseball today. And he's going to have to go to that bullpen, and this is the big test for him. And he'll do it, too. Believe me, he's got Mattingly next to him. This is the first World Series ever for Don Mattingly, which is a big deal to everybody. And he's got people helping him, but he's going to make moves all game long. Dave Roberts does not have to do that because Dave Roberts has guys like the old days where you can stick with them for a while and you don't have to make that move. You don't have to yank Yamamoto in the fifth inning if he gets in trouble. You can stay with him to the sixth or even the seventh inning. Savage gets in trouble in the fifth inning, he's gone. It's over. So what's going to be fascinating about this World Series is the Toronto manager, because he's going to make moves like crazy, and let's see if they play out. But that's the difference for me, is you must win today's game. I don't care what it takes. You must win today, and then we'll worry about tomorrow. That's the way you win a World Series.
Let's talk about this then, since we're back to the World Series. Who takes the series? Glenn.
Oh, you start with me. Oh,
yeah, buddy.
I'm ready for you. I can't believe. See, Marty, this is my first time dueling it out here with Marty. I enjoy having him on the show. This is kind of nice to have him join us for change. And he knows the guys I went to school with in high school. Guys who were selling grass. Guys in Nova Scotia only knew about that. This series, Eric. Boy, I wish you had let me go last so I could kind of put a little bit of everybody into the mix.
There's no wrong answer here.
There is no wrong answer.
So who knows, Eric? I could give you so many different. I'm hoping the Toronto Blue Jays win. I think that, again, I mentioned everything I mentioned off the top of the show. I think they've got to get to the starting pitching, and I, like Marty said to my comment, is it going to be every game? Boy, look at the lineup of starting pitching the Dodgers have. But you've got to do your best to get runs early. Put the pressure on them because they're the team with the experience. So you got to play loosey-goosey. You got to just, balls to the wall, get runs early. And the one thing I think that will be in the advantage, you're going to get pitching from the Dodgers. I think, and I got my props, Eric. I'm put the firemen. We need the firemen, Eric. It's got to be a duel. You got to get great pitching from the Blue Jays to shut down the Dodgers hitting, because I think the Dodgers pitching will take care of the Toronto Blue Jays hitting. It's all, to me, about the pitching on both sides of the ledger, especially the Toronto Blue Jays. And as Marty said earlier, and I hate, to keep throwing it back to him, but he said, how many moves will the manager make? He's got to handle the bullpen well.
So who's going to win it? Let's hear it.
Come
on, man! I
was giving you my political answer there. I thought I didn't answer it, but you caught it.
You did. You ain't getting that past me, man. Come on.
Toronto Blue Jays win in 6 games. That's with my heart.
I like it.
The Dodgers win in 5 with my noggin.
I'm going to say Toronto Blue Jays in 7.
Ooh.
Toronto Blue Jays in 7. Lou, what did you got?
I'll even go a little bit farther. I think this is going to be very memorable. I'm going to pick Toronto in 6, and the MVP of the series is my man, Mr. Kirk, who's going to come up with 2 big bombs. 2 big bombs, and what's going to happen is the Dodgers thought they had the best, and boy, they're going to go crazy, and they're going to pick up Tucker, and they'll pick up somebody else, and the Giants are now going to take 2 steps farther back because they didn't win it. And remember, the Dodgers, it's all about the ring or not. So, but I'm hoping it's going to be exciting. It's going to be crazy, and I can't root for LA. Got to beat LA, and let's do it.
There you go. Marty, what you got?
All right. Well, I love the baseball. I love the history of the game. And, in 1954, Cleveland Indians won 111 games and went in against the New York Giants. And nobody gave the Giants a chance at all. Cleveland had this great pitching. They had all the players. Willie Mays made a great catch in game 1. Dusty Rhodes was a great pinch hitter. Had all these home runs, and the Giants ended up sweeping Cleveland. So it can happen in a World Series. It can happen. And they're just baseball games. This one, for me, I know we all want to root for Toronto. And I think rooting for Toronto is the way to go in this thing. But I think when it's all said and done, the pitching of the Dodgers will prevail. I think when it's all said and done, I think the Dodgers prevail. And I say Brooklyn wins in 6.
Brooklyn wins at 6. Nice. All right, Glenn, any final thoughts?
I think the most important thing is, like you and I say almost every night, Eric, enjoy the game. It's all about enjoying, sit back, enjoy the ball game. And that's why even if the Dodgers, I think Marty's the only smart one here. Jays in 6, Jays in 6, Jays in 7, LA in 6. I think Marty's the only guy who would be good to take to Vegas with me, because I can't hang around with Eric and Lou, because this is not a winning combination. But they've got the pitching in LA, so let's just hope I hope it's competitive. Each and every game, it's something to cheer for. We saw a few of those in the Seattle series and a few throughout this postseason that, even though I didn't have any skin in the game, not a fan of either team here and there, at least I was glued to the TV. I mean, the Blue Jays, or not the Jays, the game that went 15 innings.
Oh, my gosh.
That was fantastic. You had to watch how are they managing that. They were bringing in starting pitchers, and I mean, they were ready to get peanut vendors in to pinch hit. It was crazy. So I just hope it's an exciting series. How about you, Lou?
I'm the same way. I think this baseball playoffs have been phenomenal. So I'm expecting this World Series to top that. They've had their little visions. I thought they had the 15-inning game early. The dramatic game Toronto last time. Let's go 7. Let's do it next weekend where we're going, oh my God, can you guys believe this series? Look at this. Can you believe what happened in game 2? And it's really a nice time for baseball to shine, and I just hope it does.
There you go.
Yeah, pitching and defense wins. I don't care if you play 7 games, 5 games, 3 games, or 162. Pitching and defense wins. And for some reason in these playoffs, they've been watching this for 10 years, the team that out-homers the other team wins the playoff. Yeah. And I'll take Brooklyn.
There you go. All right.
Eric,
hey guys.
Eric, that's not anything far from what you've said all along.
Nope, that's pitching and defense. I'm telling you, that will get it done.
You know what? The Blue Jays, if they're going to, if I can add something, I think
go for it.
The key to the series and having, grown up watching the Expos, they were my team as a youngster, and the Blue Jays, being a Canadian, getting to watch them on a nightly basis on TV. Don't underestimate the home town crowd and the home field advantage at the Rogers Center, formerly the Sky Dome.
They can win tonight.
They're ruckus crowd.
Tonight. Lou, you hit it early. They can win tonight. Snell can walk the park, and let's hope he does that tonight.